Hey, you busy? Mm-mm. Okay, let me run something past you real quick. I am going to ask the question that just seems to be sweeping the nation. The question that seems to be making people feel like they're behind, making people feel like they are not going in the right direction, and just all these other different additives that I don't think God purposed for us to live in. It's giving very much American food. Inherently, the food itself is not the issue. It's the added ingredients, the added preservatives, the added additives, the added the hazardous things that when you add it to anything, it is no longer the thing that was intended in the first place. I feel like this question has literally have people in the chokehold. And while I'm thankful that we have a generation that's awakening, I just feel like can you identify the fuel for this awakening? Can you identify who's pointing you in that direction? Can you identify who put you in that vehicle and who told you were naked? Genesis 3. You understand? Like, it's just so much going on. What is the question you ask? I'm so glad. The question is, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I feel like the mistreatment of discovering and concluding the answer to this question has resulted in depression, has resulted in just people not feeling like it's worth pursuing, people not knowing where to start, people. And I just said, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough, because I too raised my hand in that. I too looked at other people's highlight reel. I too saw what everybody else was doing that looked similar to me, who had similar passions to me. And I said, oh, okay, this is how you do it. So then I went off and tried to copy and paste, and then was confused on why there was no joy, why there was no peace, why there was no fruit, why I'm not getting the same result as you. How come I'm not getting the same numbers? How I'm not? And it's like, oh my goodness. The American people. That's just the scope that I have on this side of earth, right? Living on this side of earth, the American people, I can say, wow, we have gotten it way wrong. On this side of earth, we have took the word purpose and added multi streams of income. If you're not making all the revenue in the world, if you have not flipped your purpose to a six-figure business, if you have not flipped your purpose to leave a 9 to 5 so that you can go ahead and be on your way to being a triple billionaire, if you have not gone ahead and taught classes on your purpose, if you have not done all these different things to literally make an income from your purpose, then you didn't find your purpose. Then you're not in purpose. And I don't want anybody who tried to take me away from my purpose, aka I don't want people taking me away from making money, aka I don't want people taking me away from grind culture, aka I don't want people softening my hustle, because then it will really make me quiet enough to be in a corner to really ask the real question: what are you running away from? The thing that you're running away from can answer why you're running to it the way that you are. Yeah, that drive, is it determination or is it insecurity? Like, determination is, oh, I want to set a goal. I want to do a thing. It has this particular motive behind why I want to do it. My heart feels peace about it. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yay, determination. Insecurity says, I was broke before when I was younger. I'm never doing that again. I saw such and such in that environment. I'm never going to, because one stream of income is too close to zero. And so now what you've coined as grind, now what you've coined as hustling, you don't even realize the root of that is insecurity. You don't even realize that you've then adopted like-minded, insecure people, and then you've networked and on how to continue to keep that insecurity thriving. There are some things that if you don't check the root, you will never get off that treadmill. And then you wonder why you're so sleepy. And then you wonder why you feel emotionally fatigued. And then you'll wonder why. It's all this wondering. You don't have to wonder. Look at your feet. Who set the incline? Who set the incline for that pace in your life? Who put you in those particular size shoes? Is that even the way God wants you to walk through life? There are some things that can be answered when you're quiet enough to just get to the root of it. And so I had a loving conversation with my husband and then with God to just break down purpose to me like a baby in a daycare center, huh? And God was like, because listen, the way that he knows us and he knows the numbers of hair on your head and he knows how to speak to you. Can't nobody speak to me and get to me and understand me the way that God does. So when he responds, I'm like, that was definitely you, because only you would have known that I needed that. I asked God very simply, what is purpose? He said, well, let me give you a better example. If you were to Well, let me pause here. Let me ask you this question. If I were to ask you, when was Joseph in the Bible? When was he in purpose? Pause. And I'm taking you this way because this was my thought process before I asked God the question. Okay, resume. If I were to ask you, I asked myself this. If I were to ask you, when was Joseph in purpose in the Bible? When would you point it out? And I was like, I think the average person would say that Joseph was in purpose when he went ahead and solved the problem of the second in command person had a dream. Nobody could go ahead and dissect it. And he was like, you know what? No one was able to help me with this dream. Joseph was able to tell him, okay, 7 years of famine, 7 years of feast, and give him the leadership skills on how to go ahead and market and do the things that was going to make it so that they wouldn't succumb to the 7 years of famine. And Pharaoh was like, yo, you know what? You will be second in command. There will be no one higher in Egypt over you but me. And that was amazing. So to me, the average person, including myself, would say that Joseph was in purpose when he got elevated to second in command in Egypt. And then that's when I felt the inkling of like, no, that's wrong. I was like, really? So I was like, okay, Holy Spirit, I feel like that's you. So tell me what that means. He said, Joseph was in purpose when he was in his father's house. And I was like, tell me more. He said, see, the generation that you're in adds purpose and adds so many tentacles to it that you don't value purpose unless it looks like it's in a high position. It has incurred a high income, that it is something that is well known, that it has this many followers or this many supporters attached to it. And there's so many tentacles attached to this thing that you're not realizing you've made purpose an octopus. That's not how that works. So Joseph was in purpose when he was tending to whatever his father told him to tend to. Joseph was in purpose when his father said, hey, go ahead and check on your brothers and see what's going on there. Joseph was in purpose when he was sold to the Midianite traders and then went to Potiphar's home and then made life easier for Potiphar. The Bible says he had to worry about nothing but what to eat. Joseph was in purpose when he then was thrown into jail and then made life easier for the jailers. Joseph was in purpose when he then told the chief cupbearer and the chief cupbearer and the chef, he went and told them their particular dream and it was able to interpret it. Joseph was in purpose when he did the same exact thing for the Pharaoh. Joseph was in purpose all along. What was Joseph's purpose? Joseph's purpose was to free people from their torment, whether it was emotionally or anything else. Joseph's purpose was ease. Now when you zoom out, you're like, wait a minute. He made life easier for his father. Of course he did. That's why his father depended on him the way that he did. Go check on your brothers here. Go down there and see what they're doing over there. Go just that and the third. And Joseph was in purpose because clearly, as long as Joseph was in the particular vicinity, somebody could count on him. Then you go to Potiphar's and what was it, a job posting? Hey, looking to see what particular slave can go ahead and make life easier for me. It's been a really hard day or really hard month, and I would like to get. No, Joseph just did what came natural to him, to the point that it was just an elevation that just came innately. And then it was documented in the Bible. Oh my goodness, he had to worry about nothing. Potiphar didn't have to worry about nothing but what to eat. Then he did the same thing in the jailer. Then he did the same thing with the people who needed dream interpretation. Then he did the same thing when it came to Pharaoh and getting that particular dream interpreted. It's like time out. His purpose was to bring ease. His purpose was always there. Some may not identify it as being purposeful until it's, oh, now he's second in command. Oh, Joseph, well, he's the man. He's always been. Ask his father. He's always been. Ask Potiphar and the people around. He's always been. Ask the jailers. He's always been. And so I went ahead and I said, I'm going to go ahead and look up the actual definition. Let's see what the New Oxford bishops and thereof over there. Let's see what they identify as purpose. So, they always have a couple of definitions, right? So I'm going to read 3 of them. So the first one is a noun. The reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. 2, a person's sense of resolve or determination. And then 3, a particular requirement or consideration, typically one that is temporary or restricted in scope or extent. I'm going to zoom in on the first one. Definition number 1, the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. When you look at it through that lens, now do you see where Joseph's purpose was? It was there all along. The reason for which something is done or created or which something exists. Joseph literally was created to bring ease. Whether it was through dream interpretation, because people were tormented. How do I know? The Bible literally says that when Joseph saw the face of the 2 prisoners, he was like, what's wrong? Why do you look so downset? And like, what happened? They were like, we both had dreams and we don't understand the meaning. Wow. So him giving them the interpretation brought an ease, brought them out of torment. You don't think that telling someone something that they can't, the frustration of having a piece of information but not being able to kind of tell what it all means, but you have an emotion about it, and you like, I woke up and I had a terrible dream. Oh, tell me about it. And now you get to relive the dream, but you don't have a revelation about it. So in seeing it that way, I said, okay. I then asked God, can you give me a unwesternized view of purpose? And then he showed me a lamp being manufactured. He says, see, the way that the American people see purpose is where that lamp ends. Yeah, if that lamp is on the desk of a high CEO, Fortune 500 company, or a billionaire, or someone with, a high esteem, then that lamp is in purpose. But the way that I want you to see purpose, I need you to see that it was purpose from the time that it was manufactured and it passed the inspection. Once it was manufactured and it passed the inspection, that it actually can be plugged in. You put a light bulb in, you go ahead and press whatever the mechanic is, whether it's a button or what have you, and that light comes on, the lamp is now in purpose. because the lamp was created to bring light to whomever and wherever. Is the lamp in purpose when it's actually in a big box store? Let's just say Walmart. Is the lamp in purpose there? Yes. Because if anybody at any given time comes and unboxes this particular lamp and decides to plug it up, whether it's for display in the store, whether it's for a warehouse somewhere else, whether it's just for a little bit of classroom, whether it's for that little bit of square footage in that particular side of the apartment, whatever it is, the lamp is on purpose. Now, whether it's going to be utilized for its purpose is up to the person, but the lamp is in purpose, meaning it's ready and willing and able. You plug it up and it's going to do exactly what it was created to do. You go ahead and put it on the stove. You may not get the best outcome from that. That wasn't its purpose. But you know what? If someone came and bought this particular lamp only to be the centerpiece to a coffee table or the centerpiece of a dining room table, then that's the purpose that they gave it, but that doesn't change the purpose of the lamp. Now, if someone else came into the room and was like, oh, this is really pretty, but it's dark in this room, guess what? Now the lamp has become multi-purposed. Because we can go ahead and put light here, but it can also stay on this part of the table because it's still pretty here. Like, you see what I'm saying? It doesn't change, but we don't go ahead and take away the lamp's purpose altogether because we would rather it be here. We don't ignore that it was created to give light just because we wanted to give decor. We don't ignore why the manufacturer made it. And so that debunks, oh, it's not where it ends. It's not only if it's being utilized all the time. It's, do you still have the capability to do what you were created to do for the intent that the manufacturer created for you to do it? Because then we can go ahead and debunk anybody else who feels like, well, I don't know it. And wait a minute. I've heard all kind of things around that. I've heard, purpose is to be discovered, not all these. Okay, let me go ahead and just, okay. That's how I feel about it. Because you really got people out here chasing and Usain Bolton trying to find a purpose. And it's like, you looking for yourself? Trying to find your purpose is the equivalent of looking at you, look through the closet and someone asking, what are you looking for? And you're like, purpose. Translation, what are you looking for? Me. I'll give you a perfect example. My pup son, my Shih Tzu, we don't say dog in this house. My pup son, okay, follow me. He was one of 5 in a litter. The other 4 did not make it. He was the only one that made it out of his particular litter at this particular breeder, which means he was a singleton. He was an only child, okay? Acts very much like it, but let's stay focused. But there were some things that I noticed without anyone showing him. He knew innately. When the breeder would send me pictures, he was drinking milk. What class did he attend to go ahead and say, hey, if you're hungry at any given time, you have to crawl up to your mother and you have to do this, that, and the third? More than that, how did his mother know to clean him off, clean the placenta, take that off? What class did she attend? What school did she go to? What degree did she obtain? Then let's go a little step further. When he started to be potty trained and we were using the little pee pads, how did he know that I go to the bathroom here, but I can't eat here? There were some things that I had to call the breather on. I said, I'm confused. He's not using the bathroom. She said, he's not going to use the bathroom where he eats. Well, who taught him that? Oh, it's innate. They don't poo where they eat. I said, oh, okay. Then going even further, my husband had to throw away a pair of windbreakers because we had to even look it up, because there are some things that if he were in the wild that God innately put in him and his species to be afraid of this particular pattern because it can mean danger in the jungle. So when we looked up certain things that were on my husband's sweatpants, the pattern was similar to a poisonous snake. Who taught my pup son, who has been in Central AC his entire being, hey, you need to be afraid of that pattern when he did not have that exposure? Because he was purposed to make sure that he survived. And so God put certain things in him. Nobody had to teach him. Nobody had to school him. He didn't have to go to the master class. He didn't have to go to the conference. He didn't have to spend all the money. He just had to tap into the thing that innately told him, for some reason, I'm afraid of that. For some reason, I feel like I'm not supposed to eat that. For some reason, I don't feel safe around this personality. For some reason, it's something that's innate that drives. And who is that driver? Your manufacturer. Who is our manufacturer? The Almighty God. Now it starts to make sense. If you peel back all the layers of what everyone else in the world has been telling people, that you got to flip a bag, that you have to be able to live off of, that you got to go ahead and make 7 more streams of income, that you got to go, it has to look the same way that such and such has it. It has to get this particular amount of exposure. If you take all of that away, were you in purpose the entire time, or are you posing the question wrong? The question is not, what's my purpose? The new question should be, what do I answer? What do I answer? Taking the example of Joseph. Joseph, what's your purpose? I don't know. His brothers did him dirty. He's been sold as a slave. He's been in jail. It's just you tell me. When you tell me, that's when I'll know. Ask Joseph a different question. What do you answer? What's the problem that seems to keep revisiting you that you answer effortlessly and innately? Well, when my father needed to depend on somebody, he called me. And then when I saw that problem in Potiphar's house and I started working in excellence and doing all the thing, Potiphar was like, yo, with you around, I don't have to worry about nothing. Like, life is easy with you. And then when I saw, and as he would have explained further, you would have been like, oh, so you answer anywhere where there's not ease. And that's why God uses you on purpose. Well, what do you mean? Well, if Joseph was created to bring ease, you think that God's going to place him in environments that's easy? If God placed him in environments that there was no one to ease, there was no one to comfort, there was no one to tend to, then is Joseph in purpose? Wouldn't he just be that lamp that's in the box in Walmart? Ready, willing, able, but the environment is not suitable for what it is that he was created for? So very much, with purpose, we need to be able to identify, that's why you placed me here, God. But a lot of the times we start to cry, we start to get frustrated, we don't like the progress that we're not making, and everybody at this job and everybody in this family, and it seems like I keep running into the same. No, you're answering the thing that God purposed for you to answer. So God keeps bringing those questions to you. What are those questions? Those problems. Yeah, he's doing that because, like, if I had a recipe that called for pasta sauce, then I'm going to reach in my pantry and get what? Pasta sauce. And now the pasta sauce is going to be used for the thing that I created it for, that it was created for, and for the meal that I created it for. And so, no, pasta won't be in pasta-less environments, in the recipes. Like, you were purposed to be a part of anything that calls for pasta sauce. But a lot of the times when we don't connect with our purpose, when we don't connect to what we are supposed to answer, a lot of the times we feel sometimes forsaken by God. And he said he would never do that. But we're wondering, if you love me, why is this still my environment? If I have all this goodness in me, and I have all these talents in me, and but talents and all the other things that you're trying to do, what you're asking God is, give me a stage. What God is saying is, go live out in purpose. No, don't live on purpose. Go live out in purpose, meaning everything that you do. I'll give you a wonderful example. I went to a herbalist, and I was looking up herbalist, narrowed it down to 2, went to 1. It was closed. Went ahead and tried to get to the second. For whatever the reason, God said, I want you to go ahead and call that person. I was like, I don't want to call people and start talking to them. I want to see them face to face. But I felt led to do it. Didn't give my heart any chance to go ahead and filter through. So I just went ahead and called. Long story short, she called me back, got information from me, and was like, okay, I'm going to send you an email of a consent form, because I don't want to give you advice. I want you to first sign a consent form before I go ahead and do that. Cool. I looked at this consent form and I was like, ooh, I don't like the way that this looks. It's for lack of a better word, it was a Word document in all bold, in all caps, and it was 2 pages. And I was just like, oh, I can't. So it stirred me. I don't know how long she's been in business. I think 25 years, who knows? But I was like, and God put it on my heart, like, that bothers you, do something about it. I made her a brand new consent form. I made her a logo. I made it pretty. I gave her all the access to it. I emailed her, said, you have complete access to do what you want with this, but I felt led to do it. I saw your application. I made it 1 page. She called me back and was like, wow, this is beautiful. Her words literally were, she made the document she made that particular consent form in a Word document. And she was trying to get someone as early as a week prior to meeting me to go ahead and help her. But she could not find anyone to help, and she was willing to pay. And she said, what you did, I've been looking for, and I just got frustrated and said, forget it. I said, well, as God will have it, I don't know how to look at something that I can help and not do something. It's in me. If I can do something about what I'm seeing as a problem, then I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And she was like, okay, how much? I said, it's a labor of love. She was like, well, I owe you something. I was like, well, you did enough research. And I'll be honest with you. It was the fact that I told her what I was coming to her for, and the thoroughness of her research. I'm not her client. I didn't pay her anything. I didn't do anything that would have been a financial gain for her. So I read that first, and I was like, oh, man. Then when I went to go ahead and look at the consent form, my heart was like, wait a minute. I can't have her going out like this. Not on my watch. That's somebody's good grandbaby. And so I use that as my forever example, because God knew, let me go ahead and let her see this particular. She'll go ahead and help. I don't know how many clients she had in the 25 years. Let's just say a zillion, okay? But it took one non-client to answer something. So what's my purpose? I encourage people. How do you do that? I encourage them to be better. Whether I do that through looking at a consent form that looks like it's too amateur for you to be in business for 25 years, and instead of me talking about you or complaining, I'm not going to let you send this to the not near another client. I'm going to go ahead and help, even if I'm not going to be one. How do you go ahead and encourage? I don't allow people to stay in their stale mindsets. I have conversations that are life-provoking. I put videos out on YouTube. And if I was to ask the average person in this generation, am I in purpose? They probably would attach it to, well, how many followers do you have? Are you generating revenue from that? And that's not how that goes. And so not until this very moment did I feel this like adjustment in my heart. Like, I will never allow anyone to taint how God viewed purpose. And just to go ahead and bring it home, we're going to read about David. We have to, because he like the way that his story just summarizes everything. It's like, oh my goodness. So we're going to go right to it. 1 Samuel 17, I read from the NOT version. I'm going to go ahead and read from when he actually starts to go ahead and give Goliath them hands. So let's read 32. So 1 Samuel 17, 32. And here's David talking. Don't worry about this Philistine, David told Saul. I'll go fight him. 33. Don't be ridiculous, Saul replied. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy, and he's been a man of war since youth. But David persisted. I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats, he said. When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with a club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by the jaw and club it to death. I have done this to both lions and bears, and I'll do it again to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. 37. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine. Pause. David was like, let me explain something to you. This ain't new. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. This ain't the first time that I'm running up to things that people run away from. This ain't the first time that I see a problem that most people will go ahead and scurry from. And I say, nah, let me go grab something and I'm going to do something about it. This ain't the first time. Sir, when's the last time that you know that somebody's running up to lions and tigers and bears? Oh my, huh? When the last time that you seen it, that somebody's like, yo, I'll go rescue whatever. And without thinking, but what if it turned on me? If it turned on me, it's going to have a bad day. That's going to be the last time it turned ever. Like, you really got to understand the mindset of somebody that's like, I see that y'all run away from what I run toward. And so I don't have to have experience of fighting other Goliaths. I don't have to have experience with fighting other Philistines. I have experience in that I answer the question. I run to what y'all run away from. Talk your talk. I am. Continue. Saul finally consistent. All right. Go ahead, he said, and may the Lord be with you. And is 38. Then Saul gave David his own armor, a bronze helmet and a coat of mail. 39. David put it on, strapped the sword over it, and took a step or two to see what it was like, for he had never worn such things before. I can't go in these, he protested to Saul. I'm not used to them. So David took them off again. 40. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and a sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine. Pause. That's the problem right there with most people in this generation. You got people who come alongside you and then don't believe in you at first. And then when they see your heart, that you really bout it for real, they like, all right, if you really want to do this thing, let me show you how to go ahead and market it. Let me show you how to go ahead and this, that, and the third. And now you try to go ahead and fit into this mold and you like, this feels wrong. I just wanted to sing. Now I feel like I got to market and I got to do this, that, and the third. This feels wrong. I just wanted to go ahead and create this particular art. I just wanted to go ahead and create this particular event space. But now this other thing that you're telling me to do, that I got to post this many times on social media, that I have to go ahead and network with certain people. I got to rub elbows with people that I don't really know like that. Like now this is starting to feel a lot like what Saul did to David. Saul didn't believe in David at first. You didn't just read, buddy said a couple of minutes ago, you couldn't possibly win. Now all of a sudden you like, all right, you can go, but let me go ahead and put this on you. Let me go ahead and give you this blueprint. Let me go ahead and give you this armor. Let me go ahead and give you this. And I'm so glad that David stayed true to himself, because he wore it. He was like, all right, let me go ahead. You said post how many times on social media a day? Okay, you said go ahead and do what? And I got to make thumbnails and I got to look like this and blah, blah, blah. And he tried it and immediately was like, I don't like this. This feels like work. It's pulling away from the heart of the matter. Yeah, everything about this feels like, Saul, you just told me. Let's go back. It says Saul finally consented. All right, go ahead, he said. And may the Lord be with you. Pause. In there. Why is it that right after that you was like, now take some of my stuff with you too? Time out. Leave me there. Leave me with my heart and leave me with my God. Leave me with my passions and leave me with my God. Leave me with the thing that I do innately and leave me with my God. Don't then now give me your bright idea. Don't then now give me your blueprint. Don't then now start showing me other people who do something similar to me and say I should kind of like, get into the semantics of how they're doing it. Because now you got me comparing like, wait a minute. I just wanted to go ahead and honor God in this way. I just wanted to go ahead and be the answer in this way. And you like, oh, okay, but if you really want to be the answer, you got to do it on this level. And now it's starting to look like you putting armor on me that God never gave me. Let's resume. What did David do? He put down what other people try to put on him and then picked up what was innate in him. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine. Pause. Time out. People don't win like that. How you know? You ain't even try. Yeah, don't talk to me about how people don't win if you don't know the God that I know and how he innately sends me places. God don't send me with a motive. God don't send me with an underhanded agenda. You go into those interviewing meetings and you go speak to the CEOs or leadership or whomever because you have a plan of how you're going to maneuver through and get to your next seat and get to your next raise and you don't know that I'm going in there with the heart of the people. I'm really having these conversations because I really want to see a resolve. I don't want to see more revenue. It's not that serious to me. God's going to take care of me because he knows that I'm going to take care of his people when he sends me. So now it makes sense in real time why I had all these jobs that I'm like, God, come on, man. I can run circles around these people. He's like, yeah, but they're not taking care of mine. I can send anybody in there. And I've tried to send people in there. But you got a way of talking to people that they're listening. You have a way of having a heart for the people when they're down, that they feel encouraged when you're around. There's a certain level of encouragement that is needed where I send you. And I'm sending you, but you're looking at how much the pay is. I'm sending you, but you're looking at how toxic the leadership is. I'm sending you. Because maybe I want you to finally get that Goliath out of there once and for all. Because everybody else that I send, they run away for 40 days. They run away back to safety. They quit the job immediately. Yeah, you have an innate ability to run toward what other people run away from. Why does everybody else in your family not see that as a problem but you? Because you have an innate ability to call truth where everybody wants to go ahead and cover it. Why is it that none of your other friends seem to care about health or wealth or whatever it is that you're really trying to elevate to? What's going on? Like, how come that's not? Because the same people who just feel like it's too hard to get there, they're going to have to watch you get there. Like, that's just how that works. It's like you can't look at the fact that you don't have a number of people behind you. Saul had an army. Saul had an army. David had the Lord. And who won it? Let me continue to read. 41. Goliath walked out toward David with his shield bearer ahead of him, sneering in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy. Am I a dog? He roared at David. That you come at me with a stick? And he cursed David by the names of his gods. 44. Come over here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals, Goliath yelled. 45. David replied to the Philistine, you come to me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you defiled. 46. Today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill you and cut off your head. And then I will give the dead bodies of your men to the birds and wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. 47. And everyone assembled here will know that the Lord rescues his people, but not with sword or spear. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us. 48. As Goliath moved closer to attack, David ran out to meet him. Pause. I just caught something in real time. Shouts out to Holy Spirit. David is going out there on behalf of, earlier in this particular scripture, his brother's a part of Saul's army. And he was like, what are you doing here? His brother's name is Eliab. And so his brother was like, don't you have small sheep to go look toward? Like, why are you over here doing A, B, and C? So he had to deal with that. Then Saul was like, bro, you can't possibly win. There's no particular way. Like, this boy has been in war since youth. You just now coming down to deliver some DoorDash because your father said, give this to your brothers. Like, there's no way. And then here David goes and says the following. Verse 47, and everyone assembled here will know that the Lord rescues his people, but not with sword and spear. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us. Pause. David, who's us? Not David going all the way out of his way. He was just, his father said, go down there and give this to your brothers, then bring me back a report on what they're doing. Buddy was like, I cannot go all the way here and not act like I don't see purpose. I can't, listen, I see something that I can answer. And here he is going out solo with people who don't believe in him, people who are arguing about his ability to do so. And he's like, I don't even want this to be a solo recognition. I don't even want to get all the acclaim. I'm going to go ahead and tell you who's really behind this is the Lord and us. Like he's going to give you over to us. Why do you think God called David a man after his own heart? Because David wasn't selfish. How many of us would have went out there knowing we just had an argument with somebody in the army of Saul? Not just somebody, a family member. Okay. And then you go to the head of the army and he's like, you can't do it. How many of us would have went out there and was like, and he will give you to us? Nah, they had their chance. Innately, we would have been like, nah, listen, David, D-A-V, like you're going to know this name. You're going to know this face and you're going to know these hands. Like, but David was like, nah, it's bigger than that. Purpose is not selfish. When you answer something, you answer it on behalf of. So when David was taking care of his sheep and he went out to go get the one that went ahead and got attacked by whatever, he was like, nah, nobody takes my sheep. Like, I'm a shepherd. So I'm answering on behalf of, this is my father's sheep. And so I'm not going to just go back to my father and be like, oh, I lost one. No. I'm coming out here because I was entrusted to be a shepherd to all of these sheep. And so when I go out here to Goliath, he don't need to know David. He needs to know about the Lord and everybody who stands for him. So yeah, this is the Lord's battle and he will give you to us. Yeah, it's more than just me. You may just see me, but guess what? God's people, they not few in number. Shouts out to David for not going out there when he had reason to with selfish ambition. And isn't that what the Bible says that we should fight against? My Lord, today, finishing up the rest of the scripture, Lord, that's beautiful. 48, as Goliath moved closer to him, David ran quickly out to meet him. 49, reaching into his shepherd's bag and taking out a stone, he hurled it with his sling and he hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in and Goliath stumbled and fell face down on the ground. 50, David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. 51. Then David ran over and pulled Goliath's sword from its sheath. David used it to kill him and cut off his head. Pause. How beautiful is it to be so assured on what you answer that you just live in purpose? No, purpose is just not, that thing that I do with my father's sheep over there. Purpose is just not, every time my father tells me to do something, I do it and I obey him. Purpose is you run to, at least for David, you run to what people run away from. Purpose is innate. Who taught you how to fight a lion and a tiger and a bear? It's innate. Sometimes your purpose, like God, when we hear the old people in the church say, God put everything in you that you need, it's for real. So if David was to go ahead and be a defender, what question does David answer? He's the defender of what? Of whatever God puts him to. So if God put him over sheep, he's going to be a defender of the sheep. Towards who? The lions and the tigers and bear. What does that mean? He better learn how to do more than a windmill. Okay, and so he's a defender of God also in what way? Well, he saw a 9-foot Goliath and was like, you disrespecting my dad. I'm not going to have you do it, because the same God that had me out there learning skills that was scary to the average person, like, you're not going to have me scared. I know it took them 40 days and 40 nights to figure out what to do, and probably took them longer, but it took me 40 seconds to realize you're disrespectful. I don't do well with that. And I'm a defender of what? Of my God. So David's purpose is to defend, because David answers the call when it's time to defend, whether it's a lion and a tiger and a bear, whether it's a Goliath, whether it's his brother telling him that he can't do something, whether it's Saul telling him what he can and cannot do. David defends. He defends himself. He defends his purpose. And he realized, I answer questions that nobody else wants to. So here is my challenge to you. Instead of running around all this square footage on this thing called earth, trying to find your purpose, simply answer the question. What question do you answer? What do you answer? Look over your life. What's the thing that keeps being a repetitive? You do this really, really well. Beauticians, they knew very, really. I just looked at people's hair and I was like, I don't like that hairstyle on her. I think she would look prettier if she can A, B, and C. And then guess what? The fact that they answered I want people to feel good about themselves, and I want to do it through working with my hands. There were some skills and some innate things that God gave them. They didn't have to go to beautician school, but you got to get your license. You know, you can't be out here looking all kind of crazy and not know what you're doing with these chemicals. But they didn't start off in cosmetology school. They started off on the doll babies, on their cousins, on their little siblings, or whatever, whoever would let them in their head. And it's like, you don't realize you've been bred for your purpose the entire time, because you've been answering the question every time that it was brought to you. Let somebody come around you with the thing that you're supposed to answer, and you see it. The same way I did with that application. I was like, listen, I have an encouragement spirit that comes with excellence. I don't want people to feel bad about something. And so God would have it that I would connect to this particular application or consent form in a way that I was like, I don't think that she sends this to people and feels confidence and feels yay. I can see the way it looked. It just gave, I'm just sending you anything. And so I said, well, the next time that she sends this to somebody, she's going to feel this uproot of like encouragement and just excellence. And she's going to feel good. It's going to be a confidence boost. And God knew I answer that. While everybody else goes ahead and signs it, I answer it. I made it a fillable PDF form. I did all the things and did I go to tech school? No, I just knew she can't go out like this. I knew a little bit about a lot, and I put it together. God will have you learn things innately, do things innately. I looked at her website. It was like, okay, I can kind of see she got this color and that color. And then I made her a logo with the color scheme. I said, she was like, I love it. I made me a logo, but I love what you did instead. Why? Because my heart said, you will not ever send this out again and feel the way that I discerned that you felt. God lets you feel stuff when it's connected to your call. God lets you feel stuff when it's connected to your purpose. Why do you think David went up to Saul and was like, don't worry, I'll go fight him? How did he know? Let's go back. 1 Samuel 17, verse 32. Don't worry about this Philistine. David told Saul, I'll go fight him. Pause. David, how you knew he was worried? See, we bypass so much, not realizing we're way more equipped than we know. We got innate abilities in us. We got things that we're discerning that God is like, listen, I need you to see this, this, and this. Even Joseph, when he was in the jail, how did he know? Out of all the things that he could have asked them, the chief bearer and the chef, why did he ask them pretty much in layman's terms, what's wrong? Sir, what do you mean what's wrong? They in jail. Everything is wrong. It stinks, okay? It's a lot going on. The food is trash. But he knew it was an innate discernment. Something's off with you. I need to ask. I'm going to answer the call. Your purpose is the thing that God innately has you answer that other people may not see, that other people may run away from, but you have everything that you need to answer that call. Your purpose is a question. Just answer it. You understand? All right, listen. I feel like you got what you needed. I'm excited about that. Listen, this was good because the way that I'm sweating a little bit from excitement, I know this went off. So I really pray that you walk away from this film like, yo, this was exactly what I needed. And I'm so glad that God he downloaded that into me at this point in time, because I don't believe that anything happens in happenstance. There is no coincidence. God is divine, and he's an orchestrator, and he knows exactly how to make the melodies come together to make the perfect song for your heart. Do you understand that? So listen, I'm not going to let you, not going to hold you up because I don't stand in the way of evangelism, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and let me go. You talk later? All right, later.